Hey, what's up everybody? Gabe here. And today we're going to do some turn signal replacement on the XSR 900. It is the garage, the lighting sucks, I'm sorry, but this is the only place I can do it. Also, please disregard how disgusting the floor of my garage is. I know it's nasty, but it's February out here. It is extremely snowy right now. The car's been parked in here all winter, so I actually just put it out into the driveway for the moment, but so I could do this. But basically the bike's been in the corner next to that bicycle there, and the car has been, you know, kind of in the whole rest of this place, and it's been dripping all the grossness onto the ground. So that's unfortunate, but yeah, I don't want to clean it out because I'm going to move the car right back in here. And besides, it's pretty cold, so if I spray water in here, it's just going to freeze, and it's not going to be any good. So yeah, today I'm going to start working on replacement on these indicators, these stock floppy boys here, which I'm not a super big fan of. There's two in the front, of course, two in the back. Here we go. And they're quite big, they're quite bulky, and we're going to replace them with these LED Yoshimura units that I got. I actually have had them for a really long time. I ordered them along with my tail tidy kit, but at the time I didn't really understand that they wouldn't just be a drop-in replacement. Back on my DRZ, the stock indicators were busted, and I just replaced them with some generic LED ones I ordered from Fortnite. I didn't do it right. They blinked a little too fast, which I didn't understand at the time. I'm going to go into what that's all about now, but with this bike, it's more complicated. You can't just kind of slot this into something and put a bolt in a washer to tighten it. It's not going to work. For the XSR, you need to do a little more work, hence the 3D printer. So I've printed 8 of these guys, and these are going to go. Let's see if we can see it. It's not going to be very easy, but maybe we're going to be able to see it here. These are in here. There's a connector. Maybe I can yank it out. Nah. But these are in a thing that is basically shaped like this 3D printed part, and we're going to put one on the inside and one on the outside of these, and we're going to pass that threaded indicator through it with its cable, and that's going to hold it in place, you know, with the traditional bolt or the nut and the washer behind it to hold it against these, but these are going to hold it in the hole basically, so they're going to fit. So to that end, we've got these connectors. I've got 4 of these. We're going to splice these to the Yoshimura flashers, and the idea here is this is the same connector that the stock connectors are connecting to the harness with. The idea being that I could have taken the old flashers off and cut their stock connectors and then use them, but instead of doing that, for $6 for a pair, I found these online and got them shipped. And now I can take off the old indicators without harming them in any way. I'll just put them away. Even if they're ugly, they don't deserve death. And we'll put all new ones on, so we'll have all new connectors. And the final piece is the relay. This is a TST Industries relay. It's actually for an MT09, but it should fit exactly the same because there's no difference there. I'm really hoping. It looks good though. It looks like it's the right thing. And again, this is a plug and play with the existing unit. The difference again is that LED indicators use a different electrical resistance. They use less power and they generate less electrical resistance than incandescent indicators, the kind that are stock on the bike. So when you plug them into a bike with a relay set up for incandescent ones, they will blink too fast. This happened to me on my DRZ 400. I didn't really understand why at the time. Since then, I've done a lot more reading on the topic. And yeah, you can actually see this if you just disconnect one of the stock flashers. The existing one will go twice as fast. And it's about the resistance. Somehow the existing relay uses the resistance to time the pulses of the indicator. And when you change the resistance, it'll pulse too fast. And it looks dumb. So this unit, just clip it right in to the bike, and it's gonna basically replace the stock unit. Again, the stock unit won't be harmed. You'll just pull it out of there, put it away with the stock indicators. If I ever did want to go back, have the option, and that's it. So that's the plan. I'm going to get to start working on removing stuff from the bike. Again, I don't have I have a head mount set up for this thing, but I don't know how good the camera angle is going to be. So I'm going to start loosening things up and figuring out how to take things off before. Also, there's going to be some tedium. I'm not going to show all of it. I'm just saying it now. These connectors and these flashers have to be spliced together. which is worth maybe showing once, I suppose, although I don't claim to be a pro at it. But the thing is, they have to match the lengths of the existing one. So the one that's going to be mounted rear left has to match the cable length more or less of the current rear left, and so on for all the others. The cable lengths won't all be the same. And I suspect that these are going to be too short for at least some of them, if not all of them, this pair of indicator plus the connector. So I got this extra wire here, and I'm going to cut it to the right length and splice it in the middle to make it a single longer wire. It's the best solution I've got. It's not super elegant, but it's going to work. And it's going to be time consuming and tedious because I'm not particularly good at it. So yeah, we're probably not going to film that part. So I'm going to take some stuff off and see how it goes. I'll be back. Hello, let's have a quick update. Oh, the camera's upside down. No, it isn't. Make up your mind, camera. Hey, I'm back. Let's have a quick update. As you can see, I've had to take the tail section of a bike off to get at the back flashers. I was hoping it wouldn't be so complicated. So I've disconnected these 4 connectors here. There is the license plate light, the brake and rear light, which is this big, bulky, most complicated connector, and then 2 of the indicator lights. I had to take this off because these cables run in here and under here somewhere, and they're probably zip tied again. I had to take this apart when I did the tail tidy kit, but I don't remember exactly how, so I'm trying to figure it out non-destructively. Here's the back of the bike with, kind of nothing on it. But since I went to fetch the key, now that there is no resistance on the rear indicators because they're not plugged in anymore, I thought it would be fun to see how fast the front indicators blink. And they blink quite fast, as you can see. That's about double what they should blink. And same on the other side. The brake light doesn't accomplish much. But here, something to note, these are actually lit right now with a kind of like low lighting level as running lights. And when I turn the indicator on, they get brighter. The speed isn't like that bad actually, but it's still pretty fast. So unfortunately, that's what the running light feature is, something I'm going to lose. The new indicators don't have that functionality. So yeah, the wires were here. So here was the brake light. These 2 are the indicators, and this one is the license plate light. So I have got to finish taking this thing apart so I can get the old indicators out, and then test my my parts and check my length. So that's next. I'm sure the front is going to be another adventure because I know for a fact that the only way to get at the wiring, and it's very dark, it doesn't show, but it's behind the headlight. The headlight has to come out basically. I don't know how much of it, but for sure these bolts, we'll see. I'm going to have to probably do some research. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow, but I'm going to try to get the back done, or at least the back disassembled as much as I can tonight. All right, I'm back with another update. So I have taken the thing apart for the wiring. I've got at the clamp in the middle so I could separate the wiring. I had to remove this piece, which on one side is the shield for the keyhole, which goes under the bike, and this covers all the wiring up. So here's remaining in the bike is the wires connecting the brake light and the license plate light. So I got our indicators off. Here's a big old stock indicator. And actually, look, the wire is not especially long. I flattened it out, and the connector, it looks like I won't need to add additional cable for the 2 rear ones at least. The length of the connector plus the flasher itself are long enough, and I finally got to do a real test for a snug fit, and it's perfect. So that fits. 3D printed piece fits right in there. Perfect. So I'm going to start splicing the cable up. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to solder it. I do have a soldering iron here, but I'm not going to solder it, mostly because I got these and I want to try how good they are. So these are these little cable kind of self-solder things, solder seal connectors. Put both ends of the wire in through, make sure they're both in the middle patch there. It's hard to see. Yeah, there's like some solder in the middle, and then just use the old heat gun on it and it'll hold in place in theory. We're going to test it out. but I used it for the license plate things, and they came with the Yoshi kit, and I thought they were kind of fun. So I'm going to try them to see how they do compared to traditional soldering. If it sucks, well, we'll solder. I got that there. So I'm just wanting to try this out while I'm at it. So I'll be back. I'll probably film the actual heat gun, but we'll see, because I probably need my hands for that. But we'll give it a shot. I'll be back. All right, so I've got my little, helping hand out here, and I've got my 2 red wires ready to go. So I'm gonna hit my heat gun on here, and I'm gonna see I've lined everything up as well as I could. So let's try this out. I'm gonna start the low setting. Starting to melt a little. I don't know if I should hit it with the high heat or not. I don't want to burn anything. This is the real indicator. It occurs to me maybe I should have tested this out on something a little less critical first, rather than the indicator, although I could always cut more wire off if I really need to. Oh, the solder's melting, okay. That's alright. Alright. Let that cool and check it. Check it for, I don't know, integrity. Make sure it holds. And I'll do the other one, and I'll just plug in the bike and make sure the connection works. So I'm going to do this. This smells pretty bad, and holding the camera is annoying. So I'm going to test this out and see how it goes, and I'll come back when I test it on the bike. All right, so here's the real test. So the indicator is plugged in with the connector to the bike. The white wire is still bare. I don't think that's going to cause any problem for this test. So I'm just going to rest that in there for a moment, and we're going to try this out. I think I got the left side connector, if I remember right. So let's see. Well, it doesn't work. Spectacular. Not sure why. So, okay, got to figure this one out. That's unfortunate. I'm going to try the other connector just in case, but I think my solder might not have worked. We'll see. All right, last update for tonight. I've got it working. So here's a quick demo of the new LED flasher going. It's pretty nice. Should be bright enough. Definitely pulses a bit fast right now because it's again, it's on the the same circuit. Even the dash indicator is pulsing a little too fast. So there it is again. And the reason it didn't work the first time wasn't because the solder was bad or anything like that. Much simpler, stupider reason. Pull this back out. Actually, let me show on another one. Did I bring another one over here? Yeah. Okay. So, 1 second. I'm just going to put the camera here. All right. And light. Okay. Here we go. This is the connector again. There are 3 cables on this, like I mentioned before, and the reason there are 3 is because, well, without showing it again, the front 2 indicators on this bike have like an always-on running lights mode, and I naively assumed that the white cable was for that. Why did I assume that? Because if I look at this guy, it has a red and black cable, so I assumed that red and black would match with red and black. This is pretty dumb of me. And of course, you look at the rear indicator of this, the wires are just both black, which is hard to see, but anyway, in there they're both black. So what I actually did was I was looking at where the inside of this, it is not easy to see, but there are 2 metal connectors, and my new one with 3 wires has 3 metal connectors, and I lined it up like I would plug it in, and I saw which 2 lined up, and I realized that the red one didn't line up, the white one did. So I unsoldered this bit here. Well, I clipped this out, and I put the white one to the red, and I shortened it a little, the overall cable run, but it works now. So that's what I have to do for the others. Now I know I want the white cable, but in any case, I'm going to test all of them to make sure that they're actually all lined up the way I want them to compared to the original ones, because it's going to be a little muddling with the front indicators where the connectors will have all three, but the indicator is only going to have two. So I'm going to have to make sure I get that right in the front. It might take more trial and error. But anyway, for tonight, I'm done. I have it working. I have this taken apart. I know it's all going to be good. So I'm going to solder the other flashers tomorrow and put the back together, put the relay in probably, and then I'll start working on the front. So it's getting pretty late. It's almost midnight, so I'll be back tomorrow. Good night. Good morning. I'm back the next day. After reviewing yesterday's footage, I noticed that I have to be a lot more careful with the camera because I have some upside down footage, which I can probably fix in post. And I have some vertical footage, which I didn't even know a GoPro could do. So somehow I held the camera wrong. In any case, it's the next day, and I thought I was making pretty good progress until I realized that I made a really stupid mistake. Let me try to demonstrate. So this is the washer that will go against the thread of the indicator and hold it against the inside of the bike against this piece. That's fine, but to tighten that washer against it, I need this nut, which of course fits the thread of the indicator again. The problem is that I cannot get the connector through the nut. Too small. Well, the threads are blocking it, and I don't want to turn the connector into cheddar because I want it to connect inside the bike tightly. I tested the connector against the washer and against the 3D print pieces before I put the stuff together, and now I've taped it all off and everything. Unfortunately, it didn't occur to me that the nut would be a little bit tighter because of the thread inside, which is a rookie mistake. So I'm going to have to shave these, which I don't want to do, because then if I do that, they might not work anymore in the bike, where like they click into the bike. Or I have to undo this and do it again, which is what I think I'm going to do, even though it sucks. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm going to have to rejoin these wires together. You have to untape everything, cut off the old connectors, run the nut through first, and then do it. It sucks. But I don't have an option right now that's better, so I'm going to do that. So I'll be back in an hour. Goodbye. All right, so it hasn't actually been an hour. It's been maybe 20 minutes, but I've unconnected the two flashers that I was quote unquote done with, and I've mounted one. So here is a mounted one on the bike, 3D printed pieces on either side of it. Hard to see with the light like that. And then the nut and the washer holding it on. It doesn't move too much. It's pretty good. I haven't tightened it super tight or anything, but I did actually bring this over to the bike to test it. The connector is on, the connector's here, and it's on the correct side. So the way I did it was basically what I'm about to do here. So here we have the connector, the nut, the washer, and one of the 3D printed bracket parts. Here inside the bike, I ran them through before I joined the wires. Now we're going to join the wires together. I haven't done that yet. And then the other 3D printed part is here on the flasher. So in other words, I'm assembling this in place. I'm going to make the wires join together in place. This isn't super awesome because this works here for the back of the bike where I've actually taken this piece off the bike. I'm not clear how well it's going to work on the front of the bike where the brackets are much more integrated, but if I have to do it on the bike in the front, I'll find a way to do that. I'm just hoping that I'll be able to remove enough stuff to do it like this on the workbench. This isn't great. It would have been way better if this connector would have simply fit through the damn nut and I could have done it after, but I'm working with what I got here. So let this be a lesson. Measure twice, cut once instead of cut like 3 times like I've done. Because first, yesterday I had the wrong color wires joining together, so I had to redo that. And then today I've done this mistake. So yeah, I'm not a professional, obviously, and here's the proof of it. But hey, I'm figuring it out as I go, and I'm trying to get it right. So hopefully now it's going to be okay. The back I'm confident in now. I've tested this one, it works, everything's fine. There's no reason to think this won't work for the back. It's the front that I'm worried about. But let's finish the back first, get it out of the way, and then we'll go worry about the front when we get to it. So I'll be back when this is on the bike and done. All right, so the back of the bike is basically reassembled. I just have to finish running the cables, put one little piece back on, put the license plate back on, and I'm done with the back of the bike. Here's the license plate light illuminating correctly white. Of course, the tail light is illuminating. Let me press the brake pedal with my hand here so you get brighter. Oh, there we go. And both indicators also work. Here we go. There's the left side indicator and the right side indicator. So that's it. We are ready to put the back of the bike, just finish the finishing touches on the back of the bike. Just got to run the wires. They're a little longer than they used to be. Especially the license plate light is very bright. It's very long, sorry. And I didn't change it at all. I just added some tape where I noticed it could use some. But other than that, I'm not sure how I'm going to make it fit in here, but I'm going to make it fit in here because it was there before. And then I'm going to finish putting this back together again. And that will be the back of the bike done. So at least I've accomplished that. At that point, I'm going to start crying and thinking about the front. So be back in a bit. So front of the bike time. The back is all good, all done. Everything's buttoned up. I even tested putting the seat back on, everything, make sure my wires were okay. It's all good. So now I've taken the headlight off. I did not film this process because it's definitely a two-hand job and I really, really didn't want to screw up and drop my headlight because that would be catastrophic. So I took it off. There are two bolt holes on the sides, one here and one here, 4mm Allen. They're small screws. And these are what basically holds the headlight on. At that point, you pull from the bottom because there's a little clip at the top on the lip up here. That's kind of hard to see, but the headlight unit is there. So you pull out from the bottom and it comes off. So here's the headlight unit right here, the back of it. I just unplugged it, but this is it. It's XSR 900 headlight. Nothing really super fancy there. There's some holder units here. So this is the top, so you know. Sorry, the bottom. This is the top, and it even says top conveniently. I'm not changing the headlight bulb or anything. So in here are going to be my indicator cables. I'm gonna have to kind of fiddle with them to find them, but I suspect they're here and here because these look like the right connectors. And then I'm gonna have to basically just run my new cables through. It looks very straightforward. This one's actually very short. My current cables are way too long, so I'm gonna probably have to shorten that a little. But and I'm gonna have to most likely do the heat shrink job in place here on the bike, which I don't love, but I don't really see another option to get it done because I don't want to have to take this piece off. It's all one piece. To get this on the bench, actually, I mean, it wouldn't be impossible. It doesn't look like that many bolts. Maybe I will take this off so I can do this on the bench and not have to heat shrink or do heat shrink work. I don't know. I'm gonna take the existing flashers out and then I'm gonna see how much space I have to work with. If I could make the heat shrink happen inside the bike, then I don't know, it could be okay. So we're gonna see. All right, so after having a look at it, I decided to take the piece off. It's going to be a lot easier to do the heat shrink splice on the bench than it is to try to get in there on the bike. So this piece came out pretty easily. Let's see what we got here. 3 bolts, one with a nut on the other side holding it in place, and a spacer. Should be pretty easy to go back in. I only took it off one side at a time. I'm hoping that this is a big brain play that is going to make it... I'll put it back in and then take this one off so that I never have to take both off at the same time and potentially have trouble realigning everything at the end. Also, in theory, this shouldn't move too much, but it looks like it can move a little, so I might have to realign my headlight when all this is said and done, but hopefully it won't be too much of a pain. So here are the old indicators. This front left, this is the one we're going to do first. It's a very, very short little cable here. Just the new indicator, whoops, that was kind of violent. I hope I didn't damage it. Should be tough though. This indicator cable is like twice as long, so I'm working with a lot of cable and I haven't even put the connector on, which, I mean, the connector itself is almost the length of the thing without touching the indicator cable. So we're too long, I'm gonna have to shorten. The other thing that is concerning here is that this one probably uses all 3 wires. So I'm gonna start with the long splice and do some testing, because this one, unlike the rear ones, this one had the running light on it. So this guy here, I can see, does indeed have all 3 metal contacts in there, unlike the back one, which only had 2. So I'm gonna test first the same combination I did, black from the indicator, black from the connector, white from the connector to red from the indicator, like I did for the rear, which worked. I'm gonna test that first, plug it in, make sure it's good. And then before I kind of align it to this. So I'm gonna have to do the splice again with this piece in the middle of the splice. Oh, it holds up like that, it's convenient. So we'll have all the parts on either side ready to go, because again, the nut isn't gonna pass over the connector. So now I know that, it's gonna be easier to do this. And then I'll just bolt this piece back on with the indicator in place. And that should be it. I expect a little more swearing than that to take place, but in theory, this won't be so bad, assuming I pick the right wire combination. Then it'll just be a matter of putting the relay in, and I'm amazingly done this project, which did take longer than I expected, but not that much. I always expect some stuff to come up, so especially something I've never done like this before. I never really took any parts of this bike apart past doing oil change stuff, which also went super well. So yeah, here we go. I'm gonna do the splice and do the test, and I'll come back with a report when that's done. Hey, just another quick update. Looks like it worked. The cable is pretty long. I do have a bit of concern that I'm gonna have a bit of trouble putting the headlight back in. Now that I know which connectors to connect to what, it's actually the same as the back worked. That was what I tried first, and I got lucky. It worked on the first try. So here we go. Front flasher. Again, the speed is wrong because I haven't done the relay yet, but the front and the back are both going there, kind of on opposite pulses, which is funny. Hopefully the relay fixes that. That just annoys me. But yeah, I've taken off the bracket on the other side so I can put I'm going to do the second splice on this thing. So this is the other side one. It went back in fine, no problems there. So I'm going to shorten the cable more, and then I'm just hoping that overly long cable won't be a problem. But if this goes well, then that's going to be it. I'm going to reassemble everything, and this will have gone faster than I thought. So I'll be back in a bit. All right, just turn the light around, maybe a little more visible. I'm done. I've got both of the new indicators mounted on the front. They're all tested. Everything went pretty smoothly. Reconnecting the headlight went pretty smoothly. It doesn't turn on unless I turn the engine on. I don't really want to turn the engine on, but I did check that, I rewired it properly by using the pass. The pass button works fine. And the only thing I haven't done yet is the relay, so these are still a little fast, but there's the front, back, and then the other side, front. Back's a little harder to see from here, but it's working. I can see the reflection on the garage door. So that's it. I'm going to do the relay, and that's it. I'm done with this project, finally. It took quite a long time in the end. Probably a grand total of about 4 hours of work. Went a lot faster today when I understood how the wiring worked, and once I discovered the problem with trying to pass through the bolt, but otherwise, setbacks, but they were all manageable. So there we go. So I'm going to finish this up with the relay, and that's going to be it. So just for fun, this is the old stock relay. 2 pins at the same place. I have high hopes that this is going to work. They look identical except for the color. This little rubber tab was on this one, so I'm going to put it on my new one so that it holds in on the bike, and that's it. I'm going to click it in. I just wanted to show that before I did it. So I'm all done. I just did a long take of my outro, and unfortunately, it looked like I didn't press the record button. I'm super good at that. That's okay. I'm going to shorten it anyway. So the bike's all done. So let's do a quick walk around. So everything's working. Just turn it on. I've got the relay in. Look how nice and slow that is. So I'm just going to do a quick walk around the bike with that on. I'm only going to leave it on one side so we can kind of see. Remember, there's no seat on. There's no license plate. It doesn't look quite right. But, I mean, already it's a lot smaller. It's a fraction of the size of the stock unit. So I'm really happy. The brightness looks good, at least here in the garage. I'd have to see it on a bright sunny day, but it looks fine. And I'm hoping that it's going to be visible. I'm sure it will. So with that said, turn the bike off. I can hear some high-pitched stuff from the fuel pump. Yeah, with that said, the project's over. It was a little longer than I expected it to be. I thought It wouldn't be that hard, but I didn't expect that I would have to kind of do the splice inside the part that it was going in. So it's good that I took the whole tail off the bike anyway. I was originally not planning to do that, but I kind of saw quickly that I would have to if I really wanted to get at the wiring, and totally remove the old indicators. And for the front, I got lucky that these bracket pieces right here came off easily, because if they didn't, I could have been in a lot of trouble. So that's it, project's done. I'm gonna put a link in the description to the Thingiverse project that I used to print the 8 plastic brackets that go here so that the new indicators can hold in. Keep in mind that the hole in the middle of them is big enough to fit the this indicator. It's not necessarily big enough to fit any indicators out there. And the other thing to keep in mind is make sure that if you're using a nut to tighten the indicator against the bike, like so right here, you know, either you're gonna have to do what I did and kind of do the wiring splice in place like I did, or you're gonna have to find a nut that fits around the Yamaha connectors, or I don't know, something else. That's how I did it. I'm pretty happy. I'm happy that I use Yamaha connectors. At the end of the day, this was a totally non-destructive update. Everything, including the relay, is all plug and play now. I just have to do these steps in reverse. Yes, to totally undo the new flashers, I think I won't have a choice but to cut the wiring on the new ones to get them off, because there's no other way I could get the nut over the connector, unfortunately, but at least I could restore the stock bike to stock without having cut anything. I don't expect to ever have to do that. I don't know why anybody would want those heinous flashers back on there, especially now that I got the relay, it's all nice and clean. But still, I like to not destroy stuff. Maybe I'll be able to sell them or something to somebody who really wants them. Or I'll taunt my friend who hates them by like leaving them in front of his house or something. I don't know. I'll find something to do with them. Yeah, so that's the project. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you learned something. If not, well, I hope you had fun anyway. And I'll see you soon. I'm going to quickly include a picture of my backyard. This is about, the snow out there is about as deep as my waist, maybe even a little higher. It has snowed a lot. We are not quite ready for motorcycle season yet, obviously, based on that. So this snow, and there's more snow apparently on the way. Now, at one point in the spring, it's all going to melt. It's all going to be pretty sudden, but I don't expect that to happen quite yet. So it's going to be a while before I actually get this XSR out on the road, I'm afraid. But until then, have a nice winter, or if it's winter where you live, and if not, well, have a nice whatever season you're having. Bye.